when you look at the world, right, there's a lot of problems, a lot of people that have these thoughts concerning racism. And what I've discovered is that systemic racism really don't exist. It don't. When you think about our programming from a child all the way to adulthood, those of us that been indoctrinated by religion, politics, the educational system, one of the first thing that they did is they start talk about slavery. They begin to indoctrinate you into making you believe and think on things that other groups haven't been taught. So many other ethnic groups have advanced because they were not taught the things that we were taught. We were taught to think less of ourselves. We were taught to believe that everybody is better, that we have some sort of disadvantage. And this has been branded into our minds that the world is unfair, that if you're black, you won't be able to get a fair shake, that if you want a house, you're going to be discriminated against because of systemic racism. When it comes to, I guess, the prison system, that if you're a black man and you commit a crime, that somehow because of systemic racism, they're going to give you more time because you're black. So for generation and generation, we think on these negative things and we don't advance in life. We stay at the bottom. And when you really think about it, systemic racism don't exist. It is a construct that have been formulated in your mind. Everybody else around you are living their lives. Everybody else around you are starting businesses. They're traveling the world. They're eating different types of foods. They're living. Whereas what we do is we exist in a world where we're the only ones focusing on stuff that don't even exist. They say mind over matter. They say the law of attraction. They say if you think it and believe it, you'll have it. Truth is, a lot of us are experiencing what we call racism because that's what we think on all day. If you think negative, you attract negative. If you think that everybody around you is out to get you, then you'll have exactly what you've been thinking on. If you notice, even on social media, a lot of content creators, they focus on pushing this racial divide. They always talking about white supremacy, systemic racism. They try to keep you reminded to think on these things all day. And you have to ask yourself, what's the solution? Because they never give a solution. They never give you anything that can make you a better person. They never solve anything. It's like, let's just continually talk about a problem that don't exist. And I don't know about you, but that's mental programming. You're being programmed to think negative of yourself. What is the solution to the idea of systemic racism? What's the solution? How come nobody have a solution? How come everybody claim that they're pro-black, that they're advocates for this, that they're speaking against racial injustice, but there's no solution. We just talk about problems all day. And if anything, what this creates, it creates a world where we're not advancing like everybody else because we're focusing on the boogeyman. We're believing that something's holding us back when really nothing's holding you back. Um, all of you have opportunity. All of you can get any job that you want. Any job you want, you can get as a black man, black woman. The problem is you're being programmed. Nobody's holding you back. Systemic racism do not exist, guys. It don't exist. It's in your mind. You're being programmed by society, and this has been an ongoing debate. And it becomes very sensitive for a lot of people because they believe in this type of stuff with their whole heart. But when you look at their life, they're not really going anywhere. You're just existing in a world, a prison that you created for yourself, while the world around you, they're all living, having a great time. No other group on this planet is doing this but you. And to me, it is very unhealthy, especially if you got kids, because you're raising your kids to think that there is a secret society out there, an invisible enemy that purposely set up a system to hold you back. And nothing's holding you back. Is anybody holding Tyler Perry back? Is systemic racism holding back Spike Lee? Is it holding back Michael Jordan? Is it holding back any of these people that got wealth? It's not. So why is it that as a black man, black woman, you frequent content that push this all day, and you allow this content to shape your thinking to the point that you begin to shape your children thinking to think negative about themselves? And you're wondering why your life have no value in terms of economic wealth, even your own physical health. We've been brainwashed to think that as so-called melanated people that we suffer the most with diabetes, cancer, this, that. Somebody program your mind that as a black man, black woman, that these things are more likely to affect you. So you think on heart disease, strokes, all this stuff, you think on it, and then it becomes a part of your reality. Again, mind over matter, right? Whatever you think is what you're going to have. If you visualize it, you will see it. If you think that nobody like you, nobody like you. If you, whatever it is, and then we're not ignoring that people don't like you in the world, because we live in a world that's very hateful. At the same time, what I'm trying to make you understand is that the majority of us that dwell on systemic racism, we put ourselves at a disadvantage and forfeit our futures as soon as we agree with that narrative. As soon as you decide that systemic racism exists, you already forfeited your future. Because there's no way for you to advance, because if there is an invisible ghost that has basically set everything in motion to prevent you from excelling, then there's no way for you to win. So the question is, what's the solution? There is no solution. And that's the point, because it don't exist. You see what I'm saying? It's the way you think. Now, why is it that this topic, it resonates with a lot of black folk, and black folk will fight to keep it? In other words, I could talk about systemic racism don't exist. You'll have black people that will try to argue that it do exist. And you have to ask yourself the question, why do they fight to keep it? why do they fight for it to exist? It's like that don't make sense. You would want to do better. Why would you protect something that is not there? Because any of you that have a job, are you being discriminated against when you go to put money in a bank? No. If you want a vehicle, a car, what are the requirements? A source of income, credit, and you're good to go, right? So, is there anything that's holding you back? I mean, what car dealership is going to practice systemic racism when they're trying to sell vehicles? If I'm trying to sell houses, why would I not want you to get a house if I'm trying to sell these houses? That makes sense. Do that make any sense, guys? I'm in the business of selling houses, but because you're black, I want to make it more difficult for you to get the house. No, it's not that it's not that it's difficult for you to get the house. There are requirements to get that house. The problem is you just don't fit. It's just that simple. It's like you don't have the credit, you don't have the means, it's out of your league. But because you see other people able to achieve it, and because you can't get it, you identify as they just don't want me to have it because I'm black, or they're trying to make it difficult. No, you just don't qualify because you don't meet the requirements. It's just that simple. It's like buying a car. Certain cars may be out of your league because you simply can't afford it. And another thing is, a lot of people, they buy cars, right? And they don't think about the cost in the future in terms of the maintenance. Nobody thinks about these things. Nobody thinks about the fact that if you buy this car, it might look nice when you're driving it, but when it's really time for the maintenance, when things start really breaking down, it's going to hit your pockets like never before. And a lot of people don't think about that. So not only can you not afford the car that you believe you should have because you're black, you believe that you should be driving this car. And there's nothing wrong with you driving that car. The problem is, if you can't afford the car, why are you fighting to get something that you can't afford, let alone maintain? So when you think about a car and then you think about the responsibility for the house, which is more severe? Which is more severe? The car maintenance or the house maintenance? See, everybody want a house, but are you prepared for the cost? Are you prepared for the maintenance? You're not. So you got to learn how to be content with where you are until you're able to get whatever else you need. And you have to put yourself in a financial situation where you're able to make those moves. And I think that a lot of melanated folk, they look at other groups of people and how they're able to achieve certain things. And what we fail to do is understand that there's work that goes with that. You don't just walk into a bank and get a loan and you just get this house. Some people plan years in advance. Some people work their whole life and they're able to achieve certain things. I think that we hold ourselves back because we don't put in the work that is required to achieve certain things in life. And we complain and we play victims a lot. And I think that that's a weakness. And it's due to the mental programming that we had from when we was a child. Some of us, from when we were children, our parents taught us to get a job. They didn't teach us to start a business. So this is the difference between us and them. A lot of people from other ethnic groups, as they were children, their parents were not telling them when you graduate high school to get a job. Their parents didn't teach them that. Their parents taught them to go to college, and start a business. That's what their parents taught them. Their parents didn't teach them to uh, go work for somebody. There's nothing wrong with working for somebody, right? The whole point is different groups of people teach their children differently, whereas with us, we teach our kids the bare minimum or to do the bare minimum. A lot of people don't want to have these tough conversations because showing the mirror really reveals the truth. And that's something people don't want in today's day. They don't want to hear the truth. They want you to lie to them. They want you to dwell on systemic racism. They want you to pamper them with these lies and just keep dwelling in the mud. And really, we're not really offering any solution to the dilemma. It's like, if you really believe in systemic racism, what exactly are you doing to solve the problems? Because to be honest with you, let's just say hypothetically speaking that there is such thing as systemic racism. There is nothing you can do about that. Do you understand that? You have to let it compute. There's nothing you can do about that. Do you understand? So, what is the solution that you have to get you and your family on a level where you're not focusing on all this negativity? Because if someone chooses to hate me, there's nothing I can do to make them like me because they already done decided to hate me. So if systemic racism exists, there's nothing that you could do within your power to change a system that is already set up to make you fail. You understand what I'm saying? So there got to be something that you do on your part so that whatever's going on around you in the world, it's not affecting you. If you feel that the world is set up in a way where it's unfair, whereas other people are able to get this job and that job, and other people are able to get the loan from the bank, and this person is able to get this, and everybody else is able to get whatever they need to get because they're not black, then why aren't black people as a whole bringing their resources together so that we can produce our own economy, our own system? Therefore, we're able to get all the resources that we need. Why haven't black folk come together in that regard? Since the system is all screwed, and that's what you believe in your mind, that it's just unfair, and anybody that's white, they have better opportunities than you because you're black, of course, right? If that's your thinking, why is it that black people in general have not come together with their resources to solve these problems if that's what you believe? So the truth is not that systemic racism exists. The truth is we as a people have not advanced to a point where we start to solve our own problems. We're waiting for a system that you believe is working against you to solve problems for you. That's never going to happen once you understand the mind. If someone don't like you, you cannot make them like you, guys. Ladies, how many of you ladies seen a guy, let's see, you're walking down in the mall, you know what I'm saying, you're looking good, you dressed up that morning, and you have a bunch of guys, they chasing you around trying to get your number, but you're not feeling these guys, you know what I'm saying? No matter what they do, they're not going to get your number. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, because you already decided. You already decided you're not interested, right? Okay, so once you understand that example, if you're not feeling them, if you're not liking them, if you already decided that you're just going to look good, go through the mall, shop, and go home, then no matter what guy comes along, if you're not attracted to them, you're not giving them the time of day. So if you are a black man, black woman, and you believe systemic racism exists, right? It's the same thing. You're never going to get anything your way because it was already decided, right? So the solution Or I should say, what is your solution around what you think and believe in your mind? If a woman decides she don't want you, if a woman decides she don't like you, then what's the solution? The solution is to go get another woman, to go another route. So if systemic racism exists in your mind, how do you defeat that? How do you defeat that programming? You got to do something different. But if you're waiting for the system, if you're waiting for the system that created this this mindset that you believe to fix it for you, that's never going to happen. I can't go up to a woman, try to holler at her. She don't like me, but I'm still harassing her and playing the victim by blaming her for why she don't want to date me. That look crazy. And that's how we look when we are fighting against what we believe is trying to suppress us, hold us back, discriminate, and just be unfair. We look crazy doing that because it's already set in motion. So, what I'm trying to figure out is we're in 2026. We're at a time now where we're far more advanced than where our ancestors were. See, we're not denying the past, we're not denying things that were done. I don't like dwelling on all of that stuff because it is counterproductive, guys. We have to begin to move forward. We cannot sit back and continually dwell on racism all day, what the white man is doing. That stuff is toxic and poison, guys. Like when you get up in the morning and you get ready to go to work, that's a new beginning. That's a new beginning of your day to make it right. Nothing's holding you back but you. Nothing. Nobody's holding you back. Nobody white holding you back. Nobody's trying to prevent you to do anything. Now, let me clarify what I'm saying. I'm talking about a system. There is no system that's holding you back or trying to stop you. You might have individuals that don't like you. Sometimes it could be your own people that don't like you and they're trying to stop you from reaching your goals. That's a different topic. I'm talking about a system that has been set in motion to prevent you from getting to where you need to go. There's no such thing as that, guys. Everything requires qualifications, the resources in order to get certain things. Just like moving into a certain neighborhood, a certain community. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Anybody can move into that community if they fit the requirements. If you have the money, if you have the lifestyle, the credit, all these different qualifications, you'll be able to move in that community. You could say whatever you like, but it has nothing to do with no systemic racism or any of that stuff. It has nothing to do with, well, I'm black, and it's like they don't care. It don't make no sense, guys. It makes no sense at all. You know? It don't make no sense. I don't understand why people be complaining about stuff like that. It don't make no sense. We make excuses about things because we just don't have the means to get there. So the answer is we got to work either together to achieve the resources or just sit back and complain all day. If your job only pay you enough to stay in a one-bedroom apartment, you can't complain about systemic racism. You got to look within and say, what am I doing wrong that's keeping me where I'm at? Well, you settled. You settled for where you are. You settled for the job that you got, and that job that you have will only give you a certain lifestyle. You cannot have this lifestyle over here that guy have when he been working hard his whole life to build up himself. You want to take the easy route. You want to go where it's least resistance. You want to do what is easy, and you're expecting big results. That's not going to happen. You know, those that work hard, those that put in the time, those are the ones that actually win in life. And I'm not saying that if you have a one bedroom that something is wrong with you. Maybe that's where you want to be. Maybe having a one bedroom apartment is all you need. Maybe you are a minimalist. Maybe you're a guy that you don't need a house, that you're comfortable where you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. My thing is for the people that are complaining about other people that are living a certain lifestyle, and it's almost like you figure they had some sort of advantage because they're not black, and that's not the case. Everybody else must go through the same process. You know, um, they do background checks on people. Everybody get these background checks on them. The problem is, are you qualified? Have you played the game? Do you have the requirements? That's what it's really all about. But dwelling on negativity all day, that's not solving none of these problems, guys. You know? That's not solving anything. There's a lot of black folk, right, that their thinking is so at the bottom that they are preventing themselves from growing. And this is why I roll solo and choose not to be around nobody, because I found that when I was younger, the people that I was hanging around, they never wanted to do anything with their life. They just complained all day about white people. They complained about the system. They complained about this. And it's like, I'm trying to advance myself, but all my friends and the people that was around me, they did the same thing every single day. While I'm trying to work towards goals, they would look at me like, bro, you still doing that? Bro, this way you doing? Man, you wasting your time. And I'm like, I can't continue hanging with these dudes, man. Like, I would try to put my friends on. I would tell them, yo, man, let's go look for a job. I don't know if you guys ever did that back in the days, but when I was a teenager, I used to go hunting for jobs and would try to get my friends like, yo, let's go sign up for this. Let's go see if we could work in the store. Maybe we could work like in the back dealing with boxes and stuff. And I'll be like, yo, trying to encourage them like, yo, let's go out there job hunting. They didn't want to do that. So I was the only one out there hustling and grinding, trying to make something of myself. I started from age 12, guys. Age 12, I had to go out there and find a job. Do you understand me? And I found one. And the reason why I knew I could get it is because I believed in myself. Whereas my friends, they thought I was too young to even work. But no, I was hired to work in a barbershop cutting hair, guys, cutting hair for real, for real. I learned how to cut hair at 12 years old from watching my elder cousin. And I would just watch him in the crib cutting hair. And I saw everything he did, the way he adjusts the machine, everything. And I literally learned by just watching him. And when I got that job, it was a certain level of independence I had. It taught me a very valuable lesson about life. At 12 years old, I was making about 250 bucks a week, and then it moved up to about 500 bucks a week. And this is all just cutting hair. And I was able to buy my own clothes, buy my own shoes, buy Chinese food. And I don't know about you, but back in the day, that was you basically rich. My friends couldn't do that. My friends couldn't afford to do nothing. They were just sitting there on the stoop all day. You understand? Now keep in mind, black teen able to just go into a store and shop, do what he want. Whereas my other black friends, they were complacent. They were just sitting there. So what I believe happened was I was living. They were just existing. They were existing as teenagers, whereas I was living. I was able to go buy me a watch. I was able to go do what I wanted to do. And I had a certain level of freedom and power that they did not have, to the point where I would treat them in order to help them to live what my experience was. Like I would tell them, hey, come on, let's go to McDonald's, my treat. And I would buy them all McDonald's, Chinese food. Took one of my friends, yo, let's go get some shoes. I bought him a pair of shoes. So what I'm trying to show you is there is no systemic racism. It's all about what you're willing to do. And those of us who sit on our tail all day complaining, we're sitting back watching other people live. And we're getting jealous of that. And we think that we deserve that, but yet we didn't do no work. We never grind it out. We never put in the pain. And then what happens, what we tend to do is, let's say one of us becomes successful or start doing good things. We start looking down on them and we say, oh, you think you're better than me? Yes, I'm better than you. Yes, I am. You could get mad, but telling somebody that you think you're better than me because they decided to work hard to achieve something is a cop out. You're jealous of that person and you want them to feel guilty for putting in the work that you didn't want to do. So you're trying to shame them into feeling like they betrayed you for wanting better for themselves. There's a lot of black people who want to do better in life. And they decided that they gotta cut off certain people from their life that's holding them back. I had to do this myself with a lot of people because their thinking was preventing me from moving forward. Whoever you hang around, they can influence your life too. And if you're a positive person who want to do better in life and you're surrounded by people that keep talking about white supremacy, they keep talking about racism and how the white man holding us back. And I can't listen to that garbage all day. I can't. That stuff is poison, man. It's just, it's crazy. And again, if you keep thinking that, that's going to become your reality. Whereas in your world, you will be experiencing what you call systemic racism. Whereas me, I'm not experiencing none of that. So I'm going to be looking at you like you're crazy. I'm going to be like, bro, what exactly are you talking about? And you're going to be trying to convince me, bro, you don't understand. This stuff is real. This stuff is no, it's not real. It's real in your mind. Your mind created a world for you. That's why you always experiencing these atrocities. You're always experiencing these issues. You're the only one going through this. Whereas everybody else, they're living their life and they're trying to figure out what's the matter with you. Well, you built this world that you're in. You built a world where it seemed like everybody is racist towards you. You're experiencing systemic racism because you constructed this in your mind. Therefore, the law of attraction kicks in. Therefore, whatsoever a man soweth, that's what he also reap. Because you're talking about it, because you're thinking on it, it becomes your reality. So now, every day you wake up, you're the only one on your job complaining. You're the only one on your job saying it's unfair. It's unfair. Oh, all these white people, they're able to do this, but being that I'm black, it's like they all out to get me. You created this world for yourself. Whereas other people that are of color, they're not experiencing these things. They're advancing, they're becoming supervisors, they're becoming managers, they're doing things to excel themselves. And then what do? We try to shame them. Oh, you're a sellout. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're just kissing the white man's ass. Oh, what did you have to do to get there? We try to shame people for advancing in their life. That's crazy. You know? Absolutely crazy. I mean, just think about a comment, guys, here. Somebody says, you sound really stupid and don't know what you're talking about. This is the mentality of these folks, guys. This is what I mean. See, it's not that I sound stupid. The problem is that you're an NPC. And when you've been programmed to think a certain way, you will see everyone else as being stupid because in your mind, you have constructed a world that you live in, and you don't like the fact that I don't live in your world. You want to pull me in your world. Sorry, I'm not going there. I refuse to live in a world where all I'm talking about and thinking about is oppression. That's not a world I want to be in, you know? So insulting me is your way to cope with your own insecurities and the fact that you've been a loser and have been at the bottom your whole life. That's an issue you have within yourself. See, your insults, right? They don't affect me because I know it's coming from a place of pain, a place where you have not been able to achieve the finer things in life. You have not been able to have the peace. You have not been able to develop a family. You have not been able to have any sort of success in your world. So you want to pull other people down where you are in order to feel good about yourself. And this is what I mean about what systemic racism does in the minds of people that believe in that, is that once they see other people that are melanated, that are living their life, they're going to try to shame you. They're going to try to make you feel like you're wrong because you're not thinking like a slave like them. That's one of the biggest problems that we have here in America right now, is that a lot of people are like this, guys. Let me read back the comment from that wonderful viewer. It says, "You sound really stupid and don't know what you're talking about. Keep doing this to get subs and views. I get it. I feel sorry for you," shaking my head. It's interesting how that person feels sorry for me, but actually I don't feel sorry for you because I don't know you. But it's interesting how they claim they feel sorry for a person they don't know, where I'm on a whole different level from you. Think about this. You're insulting me, but then claim you feel sorry for me. You can't have bitter and sweet coming from the same fountain. That's hypocrisy. And that's the problem. We live in a world, guys, where if you are a black man and black woman, and you decide to do something about your circumstances, you will be hated, not by the white man, by your own people. They will be the first to congratulate you with hate. They'll be the first to tell you, "Oh, you're just trying to fit in with white people, that you're this." They're gonna come up with every reason to try to make it look like something's wrong with you because you want to do better. How many of you, at the sound of my voice, at some point in your teenage life, maybe in your early 20s, you were hanging out, just doing you, and it just kind of hit you like a ton of bricks? Like, man, if I don't do something in my life right now, I'm going to be just like these people. And you decided, either I'm going to go into the military, either I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to do something, take up a trade, something to kind of get me off the streets. And the minute you did that, it was a slow process, but it opened up, it allows you to, I guess, be exposed to other things in life that made the difference. And once you achieved this, you was like, wow, if I would have never made this move, I would never have this career. And you did the right thing. Whereas all your friends that you grew up with, they're still at the same spot they were at. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You go back to your old hood, you see your same friends from back in the day. They grown men, and they doing the same thing. And it's sick when you see it, because it's like, man, they really doing the same thing? Yeah. Because they never moved. They're stuck. They're stuck in the past, whereas you decided to excel in life. Think about this, guys. If Black Americans continue to walk down this path of systemic racism all their lives, our children's children will be tainted with this poison, and they will never advance or break the cycle because we refuse to educate them on a better way of living. It's like we want to play the victim, and I think that this is horrible. This is a horrible way to think. And again, we're the only group that do this. Nobody else does this. When the Asian man come to America, he come here because he want a better life. He's not thinking about systemic racism or any of this mess. They come here, they establish themselves, they get jobs, they start businesses. Why is it that every other ethnic group, when they come to America, they're able to understand how America works, they're able to understand business, they start businesses in your community, and they make all the money? whereas we been here 400 plus years in slavery. We're out of slavery now. And for whatever reason, we're still dwelling on the past. We're still dwelling on, we never been on a plantation. Keep in mind, none of you black folk been on a plantation. You never had no slave owner. You never was whipped. Nobody castrated you. Nobody sold you to another plantation. You never experienced none of these things. But you're busy watching Django. You're busy watching, all these slave movies. You're watching all this mess that's programming your mind. No other group got these movies about them. You're the only group that they got a bunch of slave movies branding your mind with thinking like a slave. Imagine this, guys. You've been freed from slavery, but for some reason, they keep making these movies to keep reminding you of the past. So now, even if you're not on a plantation, they got you in slavery because in your mind, you think like you're on a plantation still. So you're not advancing. When you think about the hood, right? The hood culture, the ghetto, right? A lot of times people get mad when you talk about these issues. But if you really think about it, the ghetto is a prison, not the community, not the neighborhood. The ghetto is in the mind. So if we can get you to think like you are trapped, then you'll stay in the projects for the rest of your life. And you will get comfortable with it because you figure, hey, it's affordable. I don't have to work as hard. And, it is what it is. But what you have to understand is that when you think of a fish, right? When you think of a fish, if you put a fish in a small tank, that fish can't grow. If you put a turtle in a small tank, that turtle is not going to grow. You got to expand the tank in order for it to grow. So if we as a people are in a small tank, a small tube, we won't be able to grow because we can only advance if our mind advance. But if you're in a space that confines you in a confined space, it becomes very difficult to move. It becomes very difficult to think, and this holds you back. So what's happening to our people is that we are in a confined space and we're unable to advance. We're unable to grow. And being that we don't want to interact with other groups of people to learn anything new, we are educated in mediocrity. We're educated in being a victim. We're educated in thinking like a minority. This is the names they gave you. They gave you the name minority, and you take it. We're not a minority, guys. Again, that's a construct that was built in your mind. You think that. That's why you get those results. If you believe you're a minority, then you get the results of a minority. Do you understand that? When you think victorious, when you think success, when you think greatness, and that's on your mind, that allows you to excel and it allows you to float to the top. But if you don't have those thoughts, you'll drown and you'll sink to the bottom. And that is where a lot of our people are. They're not thinking straight. They're not thinking success. They're not thinking greatness. There is no solution for these things. Just look all over social media and look at all the content creators that keep talking about white supremacy, systematic racism, all this other stuff, right? If you notice, none of them have any solutions. They just keep talking about problems. They just keep talking about the white man. They keep talking about stuff that keep you drained. And in the process, those content creators, they get paid. Case in point, Don Lemon. Don Lemon is a grifter. He is a guy who been pushing this mindset of whatchamacallit, like he's a pro-black, like he's just so into the black community. That's recent. He wasn't doing that before. But I want you to think about something. Don Lemon acts as if though he's trying to fight against systemic racism and all this other stuff. But he's married to a white man. I want you to think about that. Don Lemon is married to a white man, but he acts like he cares about black people. I'm not saying that you can't have an interracial relationship, but when I see somebody acting like they're fighting against racism, racists, and white supremacy and all this other stuff, and they're married to somebody of that group, I'm not taking nothing you say serious. Because in my opinion, if you're gonna go hard in the paint like that, then you're supposed to be with someone black, because that would add more value to your fight. But being that Don Lemon is married to a man, a white man, it just makes his situation worse. And it's just really, really sick that people would even take these characters serious, because it's really not about him fighting against anything. He's just trying to make money because he know that black people are easy to deceive. He know that. So he's just playing the game. Just like a pastor in a church. A lot of you probably are Christians and you attend a church, and what you don't understand is that the pastor is really just trying to make money. Pastor don't really care about you. Pastor care about money. So the pastor would tell you whatever you want to hear. He'll tell you all praises to God. God want to bless you. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He's going to supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory. Amen, amen. And then he'll collect that offering, tithes, and take your money and go buy himself a Bentley, whereas you're broke in the projects. And that happens all the time because, again, black folk are always looking for a savior. They're always looking for someone to save them. So they make their pastor rich, whereas they're broke. And you're sitting suffering, wondering why you don't have anything. Let me see. Somebody said the blacks are 14% of the Earth's population. The whites are 9%. The Asians, all those numbers are false. See, again, you don't know what you're talking about, because why? You believe lies. You don't know who's on this earth. You don't know how many people's on this earth. You cannot go by what anybody tell you when it comes to population and who is more and all this other stuff. These are all lies. You understand? Again, if you live your life believing what somebody else told you, then something wrong with you, because that doesn't even make no sense. None of that stuff makes sense. Because see, here's another thing they try to say that is a lie. Like, all groups of people commit crimes, right? But they try to make black people believe that we commit all the crimes and we're the ones filling the penitentiaries and we're the ones doing this and that. No, you're just falling into a system because you're committing crimes. But the truth is, various ethnic groups commit crimes every day. Those crimes don't even make the news. It's more juicy to put us on the news rather than everybody else. But other groups of people commit crimes all the time. And I never believed none of these census things that they have. I don't believe none of that stuff. These things are all lies. Nobody can count how many people is in the world and who's this and who's more than who. These things are lies. You understand? They're lies. Because if black people was some sort of minority, right? Why would all the other ethnic groups be concerned about black people if you're few in number? That don't make no sense. If other groups outdo or have more, right, they would not be worried about you. Nobody would be worried about you. So the truth is, if that was the case, then systemic racism don't exist, just by that alone. Why would anybody be trying to hold back somebody that are few in number? The only reason why you would want to do that is if you know that there are powerful people and you don't want them to get to a level where they're able to really fend for themselves, because then they will take over. You see what I'm saying? The truth of the matter is, black folk are great in number. We're all over this world. We're great in number. Black folk are reproducing in record numbers more than any other ethnic group on the planet. And this is a fact. But yet, they want to tell you that you're a minority. They really want you to believe these things, guys. That's why you have to think for yourself and not let television program you. That's why they call it programming. We'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming. That's what they've been doing since we were children. They've been programming us to think less of ourselves so that we don't advance, you know? But to have that mindset in 2026, that's toxic, man. We're supposed to be doing way better. But it's difficult to talk to black people about anything because, again, they've been programmed to think negative of themselves. Imagine every day listening to somebody talk about white supremacy, racism, who's a racist, and we're just focusing on negativity all day. How do you advance as a human? How do you advance? And that's the way you think. So you mean to tell me, as a black man, black woman, you really believe that somebody trying to hold you back? How? How could somebody hold you back? Nobody's holding you back. If you want to go do whatever you want, you can do it. Nobody's holding you back. It's how you think. If you walk into a car dealership and you don't believe they'll approve you for that car, you'll have exactly what you believe because you're already defeated. You were defeated before you walked in the store. You were intimidated by even talking to one of the sales reps. Imagine that. You're walking into a dealership and you are nervous. That's because you don't have the resources. When you have the resources and the means to do what the F you want to do, ain't nobody can hold you back. You understand? So if you feel like you're unable to get that vehicle, it's because you most likely can't afford it, and or you don't have the credit, and you already know this. So when you walk in there, you already defeated. You get what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with somebody trying to hold you back because you're black. No. The reason why that white guy, that Asian guy, can walk into that dealership and walk out with the keys to that car is because they have the means, they have the credit, they have what it takes. Just that simple. It has nothing to do with racism. Because many black people are able to walk into these dealerships and get what they need. So why are you complaining? It's because you don't have the means to do it. It's just that simple. You know? Have you ever been in the supermarkets back in the day as a kid and your mom would have a grocery cart full of groceries, but when she get to the register and they start ringing it up, she had to put back items? You remember those days? Okay. The reason why she had to put back items had nothing to do with systemic racism. It had to do with the fact that she didn't have the resources to purchase those items. So she had to put it back. You know, has nothing to do with being black. Just couldn't afford it. So in life, when you have the means to do what you want, nobody holds you back. If you got money, who's holding you back? If you got resources, who's holding you back? You got money. If you got the resources, you have power. Nobody can hold you back. So there's no such thing as systemic racism. What this is all about is resources. Who's willing to work hard enough to obtain what they need? Who's willing to grind out, get that paper, get what they need to get to have the lifestyle they want to have? Whoever's able to grind it out and put in the work, they're going to have the results. It's just that simple. It's like even with content, like being a content creator, right? If you put out one video a day, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to have nothing because you're not putting in any work. How do you expect to put out one video in a day and expect to make money? Whereas you folks that go to a 9 to 5, you're working 8 to 14 hours a day. Think about that. 8 to 14 hours a day to earn a living. But yet a content creator want to put out one 18-minute video or 8-minute video and expect that to pay all their bills. It's not going to work, fam. That content creator would have to put in a full day's work just like you put in a full day's work. That's just the way it works. Whoever's willing to work hard is going to achieve. It's just that those are the rules. But now it's a little different with social media because on social media, it has a lot to do with what people want to hear. So sometimes a person can do content that is from the heart, but the people don't really want to hear it. So they're not going to earn any money from it, even though they're doing a great job. Whereas others, they'll talk about topics that it's not really coming from the heart, but it's what makes money. This is why when you look at Don Lemon don't really care about the black community. Do you guys really believe that Don Lemon lives in a black community? No, Don Lemon lives around white folk. So, and he built up a life in order to live there. Now think about this. Don Lemon, with all the money he got, he's not choosing to live around black people. He don't want to live around you, but he acts as if though he cares about systemic racism. Why he don't live in the black community? Why Don Lemon haven't invested in the black community? You know? Notice somebody said there is definitely systemic racism. Again, that's mental programming in your mind. That exists in your mind, not in my mind. I don't got none of those issues. I don't got none of those problems. Ain't nobody doing anything to me. Nobody's holding me back but me. You're holding you back. You are the one. Has nothing to do with no systemic nothing. That's a cop-out. That's an excuse. You are blaming someone else for why you're not working hard. That's it. It's jealousy, man. It's mental programming. Somebody program your mind like that. Are you being discriminated against when you're driving? Are there certain roads that only black people could go on? You can't go through that roundabout. It's for white people only. Oh, you're getting tickets every day, right? No. All you got to do is drive appropriate and follow the law, and you will be good to go. There's nothing holding you back. People are making excuses, guys. And I think that is one of the biggest problems that we have. You know, there is no systemic racism in housing, guys. These are all lies. What systemic racism are you talking about? Do you got the means to get a house? Because if you do, ain't nobody holding you back. Do you see that? If you got the means to get anything, nobody's holding you back. So what are you talking about? See, the truth is you don't have the means, but you want the house. You can't afford it, but you want an easy way to get it. So instead you play the victim and cry systemic racism. No, you don't belong in that house because you can't afford it. It's just that simple. That's the hard reality. You can't afford it. You don't qualify. You don't got the credit. My credit score is at the top. It could go no higher. I understand how credit works. Do you understand? I worked very hard to have that score. I could go and do a lot of different things. At the same time, there's other things that I got to do, other responsibilities. Credit is nice to have. Good credit, excellent to have. At the same time, you have to have a plan. You have to have something that you actually do. You know, life is not a walk in the park, man. It's hard. You got to work hard. You got to grind. You got to do what you got to do. There is no systemic racism in housing. These are lies that you've been fed. Because again, if you have the means, nobody's holding you back. We're making excuses, guys. We're making excuses. Let's just call it what it is, man. If you walk into a clothing store, I don't care if that store looked down on black people. If you walk in there and you got the money, they got to serve you. You remember the movie Pretty Woman, I believe it was? I think it was called Pretty Woman. Where you had the white guy that, I guess he hired the lady that was a prostitute to, I guess, to be in his company. And remember the scene where she walked into the designer store and she walked in there and she kind of was dressed inappropriate and they weren't waiting on her? Remember that? Was the guy named Patrick Swayze? I'm not sure if that was his name. I'm not sure if that's his name. But the white guy, remember, he was a successful multimillionaire, a boss. But he really liked this woman. And he ended up falling in love with her eventually. She went into that store. And remember, she's white. Remember that, guys. She's white. She went into that store and they wouldn't wait on her. They looked down on her. She went and she told her man that I went in the store. They didn't wait on me. They treated me like I was trash. He said, nah, they're not going to do that to you. Took her back to the store. Told her, go in there and just do what you want, buy what you want. And they had to wait on her. You know why? Because he got the resources. It's something about when you got the resources. Yeah, you're right. They told her that she couldn't afford anything in the store. But they didn't realize who she was with. They looked at her and prejudged her. You're going to always get prejudged in the world. You're going to always get prejudged. That's normal. That's a part of life. That's not systemic racism. But my point is, what was the solution? He had money. He told her go back to that store and he went with her. And she was able to shop and they had to serve her. My point is, when you have the resources, guys, nobody holding you back. There is no such thing as systemic racism. You got white folk that got to deal with the same bull crap that you got to deal with. You got all different ethnic groups that got to deal with the same nonsense. Don't we all got to go to the gas pump? Don't we all got to pay them high prices for gas? Doesn't matter if you white or black. When you go to that gas pump, ain't no special price for white people. Do you understand? I hate going to the gas pump. I hate it. But we got to drive around, right? So the same way you got to pay for gas is the same way you got to deal with the housing market. But see, what you have to understand, the reason why a lot of black folk believe that there's such thing as systemic racism in the housing market is because they don't understand the game of monopoly. They don't understand the game of monopoly. If you have any experience with monopoly, you'll understand the market. You'll understand why things are the way they are. You have a lot of companies that are buying up all the houses and they're profiting. big time. They're buying up all the houses, whereas these houses were cheap, and they're buying them up. And they're not buying them to sell them. They're buying them to rent them. So it becomes more difficult to find houses to purchase. And if you do find them, they put these prices all the way up. So it makes it literally difficult for certain people. And a lot of times, now watch this, guys, because some of you might say, see, Ringo, you're proving that systemic racism exists. No, it don't exist, guys. It's the way the market is set up. They buy these houses for low, they sell them for high, and in the process of selling them for high, it excludes certain people. It's the name of the game, man. It has nothing to do with systemic racism. It's just the game of monopoly. Those that could afford it could buy it. And what it does, it builds a community of people that are all working class, business owners, entrepreneurs, no crime, and various other stuff. You could call it whatever you want. It's a system, and it is what it is. But now, there's other ways in which you could do things. You can get land, you can build your own house, and you don't have to go through those other routes. But it'll be a little bit more difficult. If black folk, because white folk do this, this is where y'all get it all twisted. A lot of black folk don't understand how white folk move. Y'all don't understand. Listen. A lot of white folk, they band together and they buy land. Whereas you busy going to buy a house, paying weird, crazy prices, going broke. The white man, he said, wait a minute, that's dumb. I could go buy land. I could go build houses on this land. Why would I go spend $400,000-$500,000 for a house that was already pre-built and old? Why would I do that? $600,000-$700,000. Why would I do that? When I could go get the land. I could go purchase the land and then have my house built from scratch and set everything up and really live like a king. Just like out in the South, you see a lot of white folk, they got their own land. I'm talking about land, acres of land. And you're looking at this guy like, how the hell he living here? How he doing all? Well, because he's smarter than you. That's why. Have nothing to do with systemic racism. He just chooses to have a better life. It's not like he's saying, oh, I'm better than you because I'm white and I got this land. No, he decided to do something smart. And now his children's children are able to inherit not only the house, but the land. Whereas us, we will go purchase a house for $400,000, $500,000 in an HOA community. We got to go to the HOA and ask them for permission to do things, right? Even though we purchased this house, they could put a lien on this house if you ain't following some rules, if you ain't doing this, that's not freedom. That's not freedom, that's prison. But that's what you choose to do because you want to live in that community. You figure it's nice, but you're not smart. You're not using your money smart. You're not making good decisions. And also, just because you got the loan and purchased the house, it doesn't mean you own the house. You don't have the title deed yet. You're paying a mortgage. So you don't own the house yet. Remember that. There's a lot of people, I'm a homeowner. No, you're not. Not until you have the title deed. Once you got that paperwork that says it's yours, then you could talk about you're a homeowner. You're not a homeowner until you own the home. See, that's the deception with the game of Monopoly. The game of Monopoly make you think you own it. But remember, in the game of Monopoly, you could win Park Place. Remember, Park Place was a very valuable spot where people had to pay a lot of money. So in the housing market, a lot of people think they're homeowners until they can't pay for the home no more. Then they refinance their loan. Now they're paying more money. So you're basically entrapped in a monopoly game where the banks is getting all this money, and then when they're ready, they take the house from you. And then they sell it to somebody else and repeat the process. It's all about business. So there is no systemic racism in the housing market. The housing market is a business. And if you don't know how to play the game, you're not going to win. And keep in mind, white people play the game with the housing market and fail at it too, just like black people. You have white folk that go into foreclosure. You have white folk that struggle to pay for that house. And everybody is working trying to pay for that mortgage, man. So it's a difficult game. But when you're smart and you really think about it, those that go the route of buying land and really investing in their children's futures, they're going to come out on top all the time. You know, they're going to come out on top all the time. Yeah, HOAs have a fee that a $300, $500 payment. Yeah, every month. That's crazy. Imagine paying a fee. Imagine you got a house, but see, this is the thing. You don't own the land. That's the problem right there. You bought a house on land that you don't own. That's the problem. That's the major problem. But if you were educated to understand, a real homeowner is the man or woman who own the land. That's a homeowner. A real homeowner is the man or woman that own the land. If you don't own the land and you signed up to buy this house on top of this land, you're not a homeowner. The land owner owns you. No different than a plantation. Doesn't matter if you're white or black. So all that systemic racism stuff is a construct built in your own mind. Because whether you're white or black, you still got to pay those HOA dues. Those fees got to come out. Right? And here's the thing. Most HOAs don't even enforce their rules. They don't even enforce the rules. So even if you had issues or whatever the case is, it's like they don't even enforce their rules, man. Imagine this. You want to build something on your house or build something on the outside or do this. You gotta email the HOA and explain to them what you want to do to your house. I want to build a pool. Nope. Can't have a pool in the backyard, sir. Why? Well, there's various reasons why, but we denied your application for your submission for a pool. You saying I can't have a pool? No. And you a homeowner? That don't make no sense, man. But when you have land, that's why they call it landlord. That's why they call it landlord. You ever heard that term? In apartment buildings, landlord. You ever heard that? Okay. There's a reason why they call it landlord. When you own the land, you are the Lord. You do what the F you want to do. You understand? And they have a lot of people out here in North Carolina that are landowners. And I'm telling you, I travel around. Listen, sometimes I take drives, right, to other communities out in North Carolina just to see how people living, just to see, try to immerse myself in what they're doing. I saw a guy, he had some land out here, right? He was in one of those tractor things, and I kind of was doing a U-turn on a road by where his property is. And he was there, and he kind of stopped, and I just said, you know what? Let me strike up a conversation, find out what's going on. And I had asked him, I was like, do you own all this land? He said, yes. And I'm looking around, and he's like doing all this work and stuff, an old guy. And based on the conversation, he had purchased the land for a very, very low cost years ago. And if you see how many acres this guy have, and when I looked at it, I'm seeing the properties and the things that's built on it. He'd do whatever he want. Whatever he want. And it was just peaceful. Very, very peaceful. Old guy, and I don't know how much family he got on that land, but it's very nice. Very, very nice. And he's just out there working, doing his thing, old guy. And it was inspiration from me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go up there, oh, he's a racist, he's a this. And here's another thing. Watch this. You got black folk in North Carolina that got land. It's not just white people. You got black folk. That's right. You got black folk that got land. Land. Sometimes you just got to go strike up conversations and talk and learn a few things. And based on the things that I know, if you are trying to purchase a home, buy the land, then build. Don't purchase a home that's already there no. Don't do that. It's a bad decision. It might look like it's a good decision. It's actually not a good decision. You're better off purchasing the land and then building from scratch. It's actually less and it's more valuable. Nobody's holding you back, guys. You're holding back yourself because you refuse to educate yourself. You refuse to properly plan what you're trying to do. You understand? You are not thinking outside the box. You're trying to find the easy route, and the easy route is going to cost you more money in the end. Because see, here's the thing. These folks out here that are landowners that got property, I'm going to tell you, man, it's a beautiful thing. When you talk with these folks, they're not racist. These people are smart as hell, man. You listen to these folks and their conversations, the things that they say, they'll teach you something. And they don't live around people. Meaning they got neighbors, right? But being that they got so much acres, their neighbor is all the way down there somewhere. All the way down. They don't live like right next door. You see, like when you're in a community, you have a house here, a house here, a house there, a house there. Everybody knowing all your business, everybody around you all day. You got jealous neighbors, weirdos. You can hear their lawnmower when they mowing their lawn. These folks that I'm talking about that got land, they don't see their neighbor because there's so much space, so much land. It's their world. Imagine the kind of life they're living. Imagine that. You could sit on your porch and just see your grandkids, your kids, and everybody just having a good time. That's living. That's a man or a woman that built something not for himself. See, most of these people that do this, that invest in these things, they weren't thinking about themselves. They were thinking about the future of their children's children and what this means for them. Their sacrifices, what it means for the future. Because that land is going to be very valuable. And to do all of that work and know that it's going to pay off in the future with your children's children, that's an investment. That's what it's really, that's the goal, man. But in today's day, in the Black community, we don't think about our children's children. We're thinking about our own self-preservation. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're unable to achieve greatness, because, and I'm not saying all Black folk, I'm saying the ones that have this mindset of systemic racism in their mind all day, the reason why you're unable to achieve these things is because you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about your children. You're not thinking about when you're gone, what your children will be left with. You're not thinking about that. I think that if you're the type of person that thinks about the future, like, man, if I do this, my kids would have it easier. If I do this, they won't have to struggle worrying about buying a home because I got the land where they could build whatever they want on the land. Imagine that. That, to me, is where we're supposed to be, but we're focused on trying to compete with each other. We're focused on keeping up with the Joneses, trying to buy a house to compete with another person to see who got a better house. Stupid stuff. Like, you can't move that house. That house that you bought in that community, you can't move it. That's why when people want to move, they put up for sale signs, and sometimes it'd be difficult to sell the house because of the economy, the housing market. Some people may not want to live there. But now when you own land, you don't hardly see anybody with for sale signs. You don't see for sale signs where people are landowners because they don't have to sell the house. They could build whatever they want. They could do whatever they want. And it's cheaper. It is cheaper to build your house from scratch than buying a pre-built house. Some of these pre-built houses are very cheap, poorly made, poorly designed, and they be selling them at astronomical prices. Makes no sense, you know? And if you're a tradesman, a guy that is handy, a guy that is into carpentry and, contractor work, then you have an advantage when it comes to this because you have these skills where you can get the workers and y'all can work and build these houses. There's a lot of people in the South, they building houses every day, guys, every day. You got a lot of communities being built up out here. You have a lot of people buying land, building their house from scratch. They have this one nice house up the road, and it's a very nice house, man. I saw when they built the house. They built the house, you could say, when I got down here in 2024, there was nothing there. You just saw the land. You saw them doing like the plumbing, the septic systems. They were setting everything up, right? And it was just bone dry, nothing. And then I saw them putting down sod, and they put that around. They were setting everything up, and then they started structuring the house. We started seeing it take shape, and it's in the perfect spot. Like, whoever bought that spot, very, very nice. And now it's completed, and it's just nice. Very, very nice. They did the house nice. It has so much space, so much air. It's just very, very good. Very, very good. I know that they are living a very peaceful, quiet life. I saw them build it from scratch, and it was amazing. They completed it in 2025, like early 20, you could say within probably like 8 months, that house was built, man. Yeah. About 8 months, done. Nice. And they don't have, like, they have neighbors that are near, but their neighbors are not near them. They're like away. And it's like in a nice area where you got to drive in and go all the way, man. It's very, very nice. It looked like that house, that property is probably sitting on probably 3 acres, 4 acres. It's nice. Very, very nice. They have another one that's like in a wooded area. They cut down all the trees that was there. They made the pathway for the cars to drive in. They have a drive in and drive out. The way they have it, like when you drive in, you don't have to reverse to come back out. They have it where you drive in and you could go around and come back out. They did it nice. The whole design is nice. And it's wide enough where you have 2 lanes of traffic coming in and out of where the house is located. So like if you have delivery trucks that are coming in, they could come in and circle around. Very, very nice, man. And all of that stuff gives me inspiration. You know what I mean? When I look at these things, I look at what other people are doing. It gives me inspiration. It don't make me jealous. It makes me look at it and say, wow, that's smart. Those people are not suffering from no systemic racism. There's a couple of black guys out here that got land. And you would have thought some white folks lived there. No, they're black. And they're not complaining. They're not complaining about the white man all day. No. And some of these people, they got like a farm on their land where they have animals. They got this. They're growing fruits, vegetables, all sorts of stuff, man. Those are the type of things you can do when you have your own land. You know, there's so many benefits, man. And we're literally living our lives complaining about systemic racism. We're growing old and we're not living. We're just existing. We got to get to the point, ladies and gentlemen, where we start to live rather than just existing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get mad at me when I talk about these topics. They unsubscribe, they hate me. And I'm like, why are you angry with me when I'm trying to get you to think outside the box and be a better person? Even if you are where you are, it doesn't make you less of a person. You got to work hard to get to the next level. It's not going to be easy. The road to success is never easy, guys. It's difficult, but it don't have to be difficult, if that makes sense. I think what it is, guys, the key to the breakthrough is being consistent. I think consistency is the key. It's difficult, but if you are consistently working towards the goal, it becomes easy, if that makes sense. For example, let's say you're working out and you have to do 50 push-ups at the park. It seems like it's difficult for a person that's not accustomed to doing push-ups. But if you're consistent, right? Yeah. Discipline beats motivation every time. Yeah, you got to be disciplined. That's a good key word. I'm glad you brought that up. Discipline, right? If you're disciplined and consistent in your workout and you say to yourself, hey, I got to complete 50 push-ups every day. And you make it your business. I'm going to complete those 50. Let's say you went to the park, but you were only able to do 20. You got tired. It's like, man, let me stop. Don't give up. If anything, wait about 15 minutes. Wait about 15 minutes to kind of rest up a little bit, and then go back and do another 10. And then kind of wait 10 minutes, 5 minutes, if anything, and then go back, even if you did 5 more. But the goal is we're going to get to the 50 by any means necessary. We're not going to let being tired stop us from getting to the goal. Even if you had to leave the park and come back home, before that day end, I need those 50 push-ups. I need them. So there's no excuses. No excuses. Discipline. Be consistent. If you factor in those 3, no matter what you do, you're going to be successful because you refuse to let the day go by without you reaching those goals. So whatever it is you do, it can be successful as long as you implement those 3. You know? You can't be making excuses. You can't procrastinate when you're trying to achieve greatness. You can't let family and friends hold you back. You can't let circumstances dictate how you feel or whether or not you're going to do what you need to do today. And you can't take a day off. No. When you're working towards your goal, there's no days off. You take a day off from labor to rest, yes. But when it comes to the goal of you trying to achieve greatness, there are no days off. Because a day off will sabotage you. You understand? And salute to everybody joining in. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Right? Drive safe if you're on the road. I just wanted to talk about this topic because I know it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people. I receive a lot of negativity when I do topics like this. People get mad at me because I'm not focusing on playing a victim all day. I don't got that kind of time, guys. After this live stream, I got to get something to eat, and I'm heading out to go do my workout, and I'm going to get to my content. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Because that's what keeps my mind clear and keeps me thinking positive. I could always think on all the negative stuff, but I choose not to because that's not profiting anything. Thinking on negativity all day doesn't help me. It just keeps me down. You know? If I want to dwell on life problems, because we all have problems, we all have things that we got to deal with. But if I dwell on those things, it brings to pass nothing but negativity and pain. And I'll find myself being depressed, being anxious, worrying, being concerned, thinking about failing. Those things will take over your mind, and before you know it, it becomes a reality. So I choose not to do that. I choose to focus on being positive, thinking of the best, just trying to be positive, man. Like, another thing that I've been doing lately is just kind of thinking on having the right kind of people around me, the right kind of people. You know, y'all hear me talk a lot about rolling solo, and y'all think that when I talk about rolling solo, that means I don't interact with people. That's not true. I interact with people, and it's the right people. That's the whole point of rolling solo, is to interact with the right people and avoid all the negativity, all the negative sources, the negative people, negative things, negative habits. You got to get rid of that junk. So right now, my mind is focused on attracting positive people, the right people. But you got to think it in your mind. And the positive people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. It's not like, oh, I just want positive people around me and they're all black. No. It'll be whites, blacks, Asians. It'll be whoever they are. Depends on who they are, you know? And that is what you have to get your mind to think on, because relationships is more important than money. I understand that we need money to survive. we would want to take money over a relationship any day. I'm sure if anybody had a choice, do you want money or do you want this relationship with this person? You'll more likely take the money if you're in dire need of that money. But the truth be told, relationships is more important than the money. And I think that a lot of us, we don't understand how powerful relationships are. Sometimes you could be involved with people that can open doors. Imagine you're friends with a real estate investor or somebody that's into real estate and they build houses and you're friends with them. That's a blessing. You don't need no money. You just need to be friends with that person because that person can open up doors for you where you're probably able to get a house built for a fraction of the cost because of the connection that you have with this person, the resources this person have at their disposal. So relationships can really open doors and opportunities better than money. Just having the right friends, the right circle, the right group of people can open up doors. Imagine you know a professional electrician. Imagine you know a professional roofer, whereas you're having a problem with your roof in terms of heating, not heating costs, but yeah, heating costs, uh, costs in terms of cooling your home. All of this plays a part with how the roof, excuse me, is designed. Because a lot of times, as a homeowner, you could be paying a lot in cooling your home in terms of the comfort of the home because of how the roof is designed. Whereas your attic is boiling hot, the upstairs parts of your house is boiling hot because the way the design is. And if you had a roofer who understands these things, they're able to construct the roofing so that when the sun is hitting that house, it's not causing the house to get extremely hot. Therefore, the cooling system is working better and the attic is able to release the heat that is being built up that is causing the home to be so hot and causing your bill to go up so high. So there's a lot to this that you may not understand. I understand heating. I understand how these things work. So maybe you're lost. But if you have friends that are roofers, friends that are in these industries, it can really cause you to benefit. Not that you're using these people just to benefit, but I'm saying friendships really open up doors where you're able to have access to resources that you don't normally have, you know? And it's just something that's really beneficial. That's why I always say you need the right kind of people in your world. The right kind of people, not negative people. We got to get rid of negative people and have positive people so that we have positive outlooks, positive results, positive suggestions, people that are rooting for us rather than people that are trying to condemn us. Because a lot of us have people in our lives that are so negative, they just keep bringing us down with their systemic racism talk, always being negative all the time. We don't need that around us, man. You want to elevate your mind. In order to do that, you got to get away from negative people. You see? So I'm going to get up on out of here. Come back more with more content later on. I'm going to go get something to eat and get ready to head out to this park, do my content, get my workout going, and yeah, focus on what's right rather than all this negative stuff. Later on, we're going to be talking about Don Lemon. We're going to be talking about some Nolan Well updates. We're going to be talking about Emmanuel, the guy with the beard. We're going to be talking about him because they're trying to bring that brother down. They're trying to embarrass him and shame him. But everything that he said on Don Lemon's show was actual factual. And I'm surprised that the black community tried to condemn him with all of this systemic racism when the guy was basically trying to focus on uniting us as a community because with all of this Nolan Wells talk, it's divided Mississippi, and it's a lot of tension in the air. And what Emmanuel was trying to do is get Don Lemon to use his power and his platform to cool hot heads so that we're not focusing on all this racism stuff. And instead, Don Lemon want to keep this hate going. I'm like, and it's all for money. It's all for money, guys. It's really sick that he keep pushing this racism stuff like all white people hate black people and we just want to argue and fight all day. And I keep telling you, fam, out here in North Carolina, right? I meet all kinds of people. I'm not saying that racism don't exist. I'm not saying there aren't any racists out here. But I've met a lot of good, clean, warm white folk that are out here that you feel at home, if that makes sense. I could walk into various towns, go into certain stores. I don't see nobody following me up and down an aisle. You walk in the store, they greet you. Hello, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? And you walk through, just do your thing. They not worrying about you. You go to the register, you pay for your goods. They say, hey, have a great weekend. You're like, wow. Hey, you too. And it almost make you feel like you're in a community. I understand it's a business. They got to treat people nice. But my point is, sometimes you got to get outside of the box that somebody put you in and actually be around different people so that you can live and see the world. Some of us'ns never been around nobody. So we're taking what we get from social media and we're really not experiencing nothing else. Like, again, I'm not saying there aren't groups of people that may not like black folk, but my point is you got to get outside, guys, and meet people, see people, experience people. Not everybody is racist, man. This stuff, I cannot stand it, bro. I cannot stand all this hate every day. And then when I'm out and about in the street, I don't see this stuff. But online, that's all I'm hearing. Oh, the white man, the white man. And then when I speak up about it, right? This is what they always do to me. Oh, you're trying to fit in with white people. That's what they do to try to shame me. They say I'm trying to fit in with white people. I'm not trying to fit in with nobody, guys. I'm just trying to be at peace. You know? That's it. All I'm trying to do is just be at peace, man. It's sensitive for black people. That's because they want to dwell on it. And they don't want to admit that they've been trained and taught systemic racism. They've been trained and taught to focus on that their whole life. You know? Better than the racist rants, even if it's pretend. Glad you have a trade making changes. I'm a union electrician. I'm in the job with all trades. I'm a skilled tradesman myself. And I worked around electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and the thing is, when you have all of these guys that have all these skills and you know them, it's a blessing. I remember one time we had to do a job and we needed the electrician. Now, I'm trained in basic electricity. I'm not an electrician per se, but I'm trained in basic electricity. Basic electricity. So I know the do's and the don'ts. I understand the safety protocols, proper PPE. I understand all the basics. But when it came down to the heavy duty work, right, we had to bring in the big boys. So being that we worked with electricians in the job, we had this one Italian guy named Sal. He was an electrician and very, very skilled. So when it came to doing certain things, we just didn't want to touch. Like I would tell my partners, even though we are trained and we understand the basics, I understand that there's certain things I may know how to do, but there's a line that I don't cross. And I told my team, I said, bro, if you know you're about to do some electrical work that goes beyond what we've been trained, stop right there. Let's call Sal. Do you understand me? Because Sal, he's a skilled electrician. This is what he do. This is his bread and butter. So when we call Sal in, man, he go just pulling wires out. Like I literally seen him do this. He turned off the breaker, turned off all the power. He just grabbed all the wires and pulled them right out. I'm like, bro, what the hell you just did, bro? He's like, don't worry about it. He there doing this. He clipping this wire. He doing this, doing all this stuff. He plugged it into here. He's working like a musician. I'm looking at him doing this thing. I'm like, I'm trying to learn. Because when you're around a skilled electrician, even if you're an apprentice or you're just a novice and you're just kind of learning, always keep your eyes open to watch what this man is doing. So I'm looking at him work. I'm like, he's working kind of. I'm like, Sal, slow down, man. Let me see what you're doing, man. He's like, oh, you trying to learn a little bit? I'm like, of course, man. Come on, I might take the electrician course or something. Because, you know, they have different civil service exams you take and stuff. But he's doing his thing. He got the plant up and running, got the boiler going again. And I'm like, damn, if we didn't know Sal, we just can't call him up. You know what I'm saying? Because the electricians, they're busy. They're out there in the field doing various other work. But being that we know him, we were able to call him up. Yo, Sal, we got a major problem at the plant. The boiler down, supervisor on our back. We need this boiler up. We tried everything. Can't get it to start. We changed the fuses. We checked the wiring. We did this. It says that power's coming in. When he came in, somebody circumvented safeties. Somebody made power. It looked like the boiler had power because when you test it, it shows that 200 and something volts is going to that system, but it wasn't going there. That was going to another boiler. But the way they wired it, in the panel, it says that that boiler is being powered, but it wasn't going to that boiler. Somebody did something with the wire and it went somewhere else in the plant. Stuff is dangerous, man. So you really gotta know what you're doing. Like I've been in the plant and there have been times I had to overhaul the boilers. I had to change all the safeties. I had to do all this technical stuff, right? So I went to turn off the power. I turned off the power, the main breaker to the boiler. So I was about to go get the screwdrivers and start loosening stuff off. But then all my training kicked in and said, whoa, safety first. Y'all know that, right? Safety first, PPE. I didn't have on my gloves. I didn't have my tester to test. I was just being dumb at the moment. I mean, I understand right from wrong, but sometimes when you're working, you figure, I know this stuff, man. Boom, 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 woo, woo, woo. But then my training kicked in. Go get your tester. Go get your gloves. Go get your PPE. Do what you got to do. I go get it. I test the system. +200 volts is still coming in. I turned off the breaker. The breaker should have shut everything down. The boiler is still being powered. If I would have put any tools on those devices, I would have got the shock of my life. You understand? That's why you always got to focus on safety first. So I went to the main box and shut down the power. The power still was on that boiler. Who I called? Sal. Sal came in, traced out the lines. He looked at everything. He's trying to determine where the hell this power was coming to. So he's looking at everything. He's looking at the wiring. He's trying to determine what's going on. So he go inside the main box and he plugged out all the wires for that with that setup. And guess what? When he plugged out all the power from the line that I'm turning the breaker off and still power still coming in, somebody did something with the wiring and sent that power to go to another part in the plant. Do you see this? Now you could get fired for stuff like this because they tell you not to do that. But sometimes you got workers that are lazy and there's an emergency and they rewire something to power something else. And it's not going to its designated area. And he was able to solve the problem, man. We had somebody that got shocked in the plant. Guys, if you ever see somebody get electrocuted, it's not a pretty sight. First of all, you hear a loud sound, a major spark, and you'll see somebody flying across the room. This dude fell off the ladder. He went this way. His hands was burnt. Like his thumb, his hands was burnt, black. He got shocked. It shocked the crap out of him, bro. You know, and again, it was because somebody didn't turn off the system. In his case, he didn't turn off the power. He didn't turn off the power. He turned off the power at the boiler, but he didn't turn the power off at the main breaker. I take fuses out, and I put a lockout tag out on everything that I did when I was in the plants. I didn't play around with that. Y'all know the electrician that's in the chat, you know about lockout tag out. I did that all the time. They used to be like, why you do that for? Because of you. One of y'all might turn the thing on and I'm working and you end up killing me. So I would always make sure I use every precaution, every safety measure I can do to protect myself. I would take fuses out, lockout, tag out. I'll put chains around stuff because there's always some person that would come in and click a switch and you're done. Yeah. People died in the plants before. People got electrocuted, died. They didn't use it was this device. I still got it. I think it's somewhere in the house. I probably have to show you one day. It's this device that, it's been so long since I've been at that job, I forgot the damn name of it. But it's a device that pretty much lets you know when there are certain chemicals in the air, certain fumes that are in the air that you can't smell with your own nose, but it will sound an alarm. It'll start beeping to let you know it's time to go. Time to go. It's yellow. It's a yellow, small little device that you clip on you. And we use that anytime we went into like basements, confined spaces, and various other places where there's certain gases that you can't smell, but it's in the air and it can kill you. A certain parts per million that you breathe that mess in. It was this one chemical that had killed somebody, and it smells like they said it smells like rotten eggs. I forgot exactly what the name of it is. We're not talking about carbon monoxide, even though it can detect carbon monoxide, right? Because that's a fume that you can't smell or taste, right? But the one that had killed one of the workers, not at my location, but somewhere else, it's this thing it smells like if it's rotten eggs. And what happened is it's deadly. And they say once you smell it, you're dead. Yeah. That's why you got to have on your respirator so you could breathe. I went and I had the full face one to protect you at all times. Because when you're working in these environments, guys, it's toxic. It's very toxic, very dangerous. You breathing in stuff that you don't know. You could get sick. So all the training that we got was very crucial to your survival. Some people, they didn't follow the training and they paid the price, you know? Yeah, one smell and you're dead. If you could smell it, you're dead. Look it up. Well, I don't know how you'll be able to look it up, but those that know, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It smells like rotten eggs. And once you breathe in that stuff, you could smell it. Chances are you gonna die. That's why you're supposed to have on your proper PPE. You should have on a respirator. Anytime you're in these environments, you're supposed to. Some people walk around with no respirator and no filter, no nothing, and they think they're safe. And some people put on a dust mask thinking they're protected. You're not protected with a dust mask. You know? It's crazy, man. I was at a Ford manufacturing plant and had to wear all of that when I would patrol. And yeah, you have to. There you go. Hydrogen sulfide. Somebody looked it up. There you go. One of y'all looked it up. Very dangerous, right? It's not no joke. I know what I'm talking about because somebody died. That was in our training all the time. Yep. Actually, we had some training where, and I don't know if you ever been trained like this, but there was a room and the room would have these gases in it. You would put on your PPE and you would have your devices on and you would see your device go off, like your safety devices, and those gases would be in the room just to test the equipment, make sure the equipment is working. Stuff was no joke, man. A lot of people got sick because they wouldn't wear their PPE. Guys, if you are working on the job, whether you're male or female, if you're working in these type of industries where these gases and these fumes are there, please wear your PPE. Please tell your coworkers to wear the PPE, please. Don't be a bad coworker. If you see your coworker being goofy, not wanting to put on hard hats, especially in plants where you have to wear a hard hat, don't walk around without your hard hat, guys. Please wear your hard hat. You understand me? You had a young lady that she died because she didn't have on her hard hat. There was a scaffolding, right? A scaffold, right? Somebody had a tool that was on the scaffold and it was like hanging over the edge. This young lady was a caretaker, and basically you're supposed to wear a hard hat. And we're talking about a caretaker. For those that don't know, we're not talking about somebody that care for people. In New York, it was a job where you're basically a janitor. And your job is to clean outside of buildings, inside of buildings. And when you're on the outside of buildings, you're supposed to wear a hard hat. This lady didn't wear her hard hat. She was outside cleaning the buildings with nothing. She was under where the scaffolding is. A tool fell from the top, fell all the way down 5 stories, hit her in the head. She's dead. She's dead because she chose not to wear her PPE, personal protective equipment, for those that don't know, right? She's dead. If she would have had on her hard hat, yes, it would have been, she would have probably got injured, but the hard hat would have saved her life. She would have probably got shock, probably got whiplash. She would have probably had to take a day or 2 off, or maybe she wouldn't have got injured at all. But that cost her life. Wear your PPE, guys. Wear it. I see a lot of electricians, they're supposed to wear their gloves. Some of them feel comfortable working without gloves. Now, don't get me wrong. Listen to me carefully. I'm all for PPE. There are some electricians that know their job so good. I don't recommend this, They don't work with no gloves, but they know their job so good. They're very, very skilled. I don't agree with what they do, but they be working with no gloves, none, and they survive because they know what they're doing. Now, I've seen an electrician working without his gloves, and he had his helper with him, and the helper was trying to do the same thing. He said, "Bro, put on your gloves." He was like, "Why? You don't have on yours." He said, "Put on your gloves." He cursed them out too. He's like, "Put on your gloves, put on your PPE, don't do what I'm doing." I was glad when he told him to do that because he never encouraged him to be like him. He told him to put on his safety gear because just because you see him doing it doesn't mean you could do it, you know? So, and I don't recommend you do that. Wear your equipment, you know? Don't be dumb, guys. I'm telling you, don't be dumb. Is that one day you decide to be dumb, it'll cost you your life. And they're going to have to call your folks and tell them that you didn't make it home. So be smart. All right. So, guys, I'm going to get up on out of here. I'm going to go get me something to eat. And I got to get to the park at 8 o'clock and whatnot. Do what I got to do. Then I'll get to my content. And it is what it is. I might have to go to the supermarket. Got to pick up a few things. Because it ain't 8 o'clock yet. But this time fly by so fast. And it is what it is. So I'm going to get up on out of here. Let me see. You can be good and still make minor mistakes. Yeah. That's why I don't recommend what the electrician was doing by not wearing his equipment. But yeah, you could be very skilled and make one mistake. And it costs you everything. You know? Definitely true. Definitely true. You just got to be safe. You got to think smart. See, it starts with respect. If you respect the equipment, then you'll take your job serious. When I was at that agency doing my job, and I was a heating maintenance worker technician, right? And in that job, you had to respect the equipment. We were responsible for overhauling boilers, repairing all the equipment out in the field, going to the tank rooms, changing motors, doing this, just making sure everything is running efficiently, up to par, to make sure that heating and hot water distribution is flowing smooth. You know what I mean? Because once you have all your tank rooms and everything running properly, then you're not going to have many tickets in the system where there's heating complaints or no hot water complaints. And we also had to make sure that the boiler rooms were top notch. And once we have everything running good, we have a system that is running efficient. And as long as the workers maintain everything, then we would be good. But some people didn't believe in doing their job, so it just made matters worse. It's like we found ourselves doing all the work because people would know that we're the workers and then they wouldn't maintain the system. So you have to respect the system and not do nothing goofy, you know? I've learned these things from the other workers that were there before me that pretty much trained me on how and what to do, what not to do. And these guys, they worked by the books. I was very, very thankful to have those guys teach me these ropes because they were not the regular workers, if that makes sense. Like when I had got in, I was a heating plant technician, and that is you're pretty much below the heating maintenance workers, right? They were up here. Then you have the electricians, the other guys, you know, stuff like that. So when I got in, the heating maintenance workers and the electricians were training me. So I pretty much was around the big boys doing the job. And these guys, they were not playing. These are not guys that just went to the job to just get a check. They loved what they do. And they took pride in training you on how to do the job. So it was just an educational hands-on experience for me to learn from these credible guys that were really good at what they do. And one of the things they taught is that you have to respect the system, the equipment, the machines. These are machines. You have to respect it, maintain it. Don't be afraid of the machines, but understand the potential risk that can happen if you don't follow proper protocol. So we learn all of the do's and the don'ts, the dangers and various things. Once you understand everything and you implement everything you learn, you'll be okay. There's a lot of people that was afraid to do the type of job that I was doing because people could die. You know, it was very, very dangerous. But once you overcome those fears, and I never even had those fears. It's like I was in these plants. These plants can blow up. You look on YouTube, just type in boiler plant blows up and see what happens due to gas leaks and various other things. You got to be trained in these things to recognize when there's a gas leak. Some people don't even know what a gas leak look like. Sometimes you can have a gas leak that is minor, then you can have a major gas leak. I would run tests on all the gas systems by just using a simple method with a spray bottle with some soap solution. And you would spray that by the piping area and boom, boom, boom. You spray and you just see if you see bubbles, you know what I'm saying? And because sometimes your equipment don't go off and let you know. Sometimes you may not smell nothing, but it could be a minor leak. And that minor leak can cause a problem. So there have been times in the plant where we would go around from plant to plant and we'd check the equipment for gas leaks. And that was our task for the day. I would tell my supervisor, hey, I'm gonna go out there in the field. We're gonna check for gas leaks and let you guys know. And you wouldn't believe how many gas leaks we found. And then once we find them, we contact the plumber. The plumber would come in because it all depends. Based on the job, anything below 2 inches, like if it's 2 inches and below, we could fix it, right? But if it's a 3-inch piping diameter, we have to contact the plumber, right? So that's how we pretty much did it. If it was a gas leak that was on a 2-inch piping or whatever the case is, we could fix that. But if it was more than 2 inches, you had to contact the plumbers, and they would have to come in and change out the line and redo everything all over again in order to stop the leak. But yeah, man, you just got to just always focus on safety, man. Focus on safety. Whatever it is you do, whatever job you do, there's always a safety precaution. Focus on that safety, man. Don't be half-assed with your job when it comes to doing whatever you got to do, man. Like, and I'm very, very serious, man. Whatever job you ladies work at, if you're dealing with something that deals with danger, guys, be on point. Keep your eyes open, especially if you're a person that have locks. Like when I was on the job, I didn't have my locks just hanging all over the place. Do you understand me? Didn't do that. You wrap your hair up. I used to have like a bandana thing, and my locks was wrapped up so that there's no loose locks, because sometimes that could get caught up in a conveyor belt. It could get caught up in a machine. This happened to people already. This happened. You had a girl, she had these long braids, and she was by a machine. She was leaning over the machine. Her hair went into the machine, pulled her into the machine. Luckily, somebody was near and they hit the emergency stop. Saved her life. You see what I mean? Because it would have pulled her into the machine and it would have ripped the hair right out her scalp. There have been incidents like that happen. So you want to be smart, guys. You want to be smart. For example, let's say, you are working with electrical stuff and you got a ring. You got rings on. Take those rings off. See, a lot of people, they're not thinking. You know what I'm saying? When you're working in certain industries, you can't create hazards. Like with all the training that I got I could recognize a hazard immediately. Immediately. I'll be on the job. I'll be like, bro, why does this look like this, bro? Y'all don't see this hazard right here? Like, you'll have a pool of water sitting on the floor. One of my coworkers will have his iPhone charger plugged into the outlet, and the cord is on the floor. And the puddle of water is right next to the cord. His chair is sitting in the pool of water. And this dummy is sitting there. I can peep it, and I'm like, bro, what the hell you doing, man? You can't see you can't see what you're doing, bro. So it's like, it got me frustrated because a lot of the new hires that they brought in, these kids wasn't being trained, man. And it's like, I felt like I was babysitting everybody, man. Like literally preventing kids from dying. So it was just a frustrating thing. And I wanted to become the supervisor, but that's when the pandemic came in, where you had to get that shot. I wasn't taking the shot and whatnot. So they was like, yo, whoever don't take the shot, we're going to have to terminate them. Hey, it is what it is, man. So I ended up getting terminated because I didn't want to take the shot. I didn't want that, fam. I knew a lot of people that died after taking that shot. A lot of people's mental health was gone after taking that shot. I was like, I'm not doing it, you know? So it is what it is. But I still got the training, you know what I'm saying? Still got those skilled trades in me. But nonetheless, guys, I'm going to get up on out of here, do what I got to do, and whatnot. I'm going to go get something to eat, clean up a little bit, then head on out to the park, go record some content, do my workout, head back in, because I want to get there first thing first while the sun is down and it's not hot. That's when I could do my workouts and get it done and get on back and whatnot. But yeah. It's a lot of stuff that I'm learning about these workouts, guys, that I have to talk about. Like, for those of you that are, I guess, in your 40s, 50 and up, you got to be careful with running at your age. Now, you could jog, right? But if you jog, it got to be light. Don't jog and your jog is like running. I know you probably been taught, oh, ain't nothing wrong. Something's wrong. You're actually harming yourself. You're actually harming yourself more if you're running, right? So if you want to do a light jog, I'm talking about light, a light jog at a nice pace, you're good to go. But don't turn your jog into running if you're in your 40s, 50s, and up, because you're actually causing more damage to your body. You're not in your 20s where your body heals up immediately. You're going to cause more damage and you're going to experience certain pain. It'll be better for you to just walk. Just walking will be better. If you walking around, walk, great. You can jog, but make it light. Light, guys. A light jog. Not like you're running a marathon. No. Slow pace jogging. Light. That'll be good. But don't start running around and nah, man. You're actually causing more problems. I'm learning stuff as I go. And then when I go look it up, the experts are saying the same thing. You know, you're actually going to cause yourself more harm. And I don't want to lead nobody astray with my content and then you end up getting injured. You know what I'm saying? Because I did a lot of like jogging, but my jogs, it's almost like I'm running. And I had to slow it down, really slow it down and, you know, light. Make sure you're wearing the proper shoes for running, for jogging. That's very cushioned so that because you're shocking your body every time you do it, man. You're shocking your system and all that weight is hitting on your leg over and over and over and over. It's causing damage, man. You ain't gonna hear nobody talking about that, but there's a few experts that talk about this, and I listen. I take heed to everything, because I'm not 20. I'm 49, just in case anybody want to know. I'm 49 years young, and I take my health serious when it comes to my workouts. You know what I'm saying? So you always have to stay active so that you're doing what you need to do to stay in shape and keep that mobility going, keep your blood circulating, keep your heart pumping blood, you know. And I recommend, if you're a man or a woman, primarily a man, we need you to do about 50 push-ups a day. About 50. If you could do about 50 push-ups a day, you should be good. Now, here's the thing. If you can't do the traditional push-ups, then do like an incline push-up on something, like an incline. Work where you are. Don't try to compete with nobody. Work where you are. If you can't do a traditional push-up flat and it's difficult for you, do an incline push-up on, like, let's say a countertop that's in your house, where you're on by the countertop, you like lean out and you do 50 incline type push-ups. It's better you do those than do none. You can use a wall. You could use a bench in a park. You could do that, because we need you to get those 50, because what that's going to do, it's going to work on your heart. Your heart is going to be very, very developed and strong, and you're going to be able to circulate that blood, and it's going to prevent a lot of future problems, guys. Get on your P's and Q's when it comes to your health. Stop playing, stop procrastinating, stop focusing on money, and focus on getting that workout going. Start getting into them parks, start walking around, start doing your thing. As long as you're actively working out, you should be good. We need for you guys to live long and survive, and actually have the stamina and the mental clarity that you need. So if there's anything that you guys need to focus on, is getting your workout. You don't have to be in the gym lifting up a bunch of weight and trying to impress anybody, lifting and benching 300 pounds. Stop doing all of that dumb stuff. All you need to do is walk, a light jog, and some push-ups. You know what I'm saying? And you good to go. You could do some dips, squats without weight. Don't put no weight on your back. Don't do that. Just squat regular, using your own body weight, and keep your arms out, and just do that. That way you could get that circulation, that mobility, keep that movement going, because as you age, you don't want your body to fall apart, because a lot of people don't work out, guys. A lot of people, you try jogging, you feel like you're dying, like you're running out of breath. That's because your heart is poor. You don't have good circulation. You're not breathing properly. And a lot of us, we look like we're healthy on the outside, but in the inside, we're not healthy at all. So you got to get out there and get to work, guys. Do it for yourself. When you work out, you're not working out to impress nobody. You're not working out, guys, because you want muscles to impress women. When your body changes, that's a byproduct of working out. Working out is for you. It's for your mental clarity. It's to get your blood circulating. It's to get your heart muscle going. Because if our heart fails us, we're done. So we got to keep our heart healthy. So if there's anything you're going to get out of this message, guys, is to get busy with your workout. Stop chasing women around, get into that park, and start grinding it out. We need you to do 50 push-ups. I don't want no excuses, guys. 50 push-ups every day. 50 push-ups. And if you had to take a day off from doing your push-ups, it's on the weekend. Right? So your arms can rest up. But we need you guys to do 50 push-ups every day. No excuses. Are you up for the challenge? And I'm not talking to you guys that talk about how many you do 1,000 push-ups. We're not talking to you. We're talking to the guys that don't work out, that been struggling, the guys that Probably do a few push-ups every day or every now and then. We want to get you into a habit of doing 50 push-ups every day. I really want you to do them every day. No days off. Every day until you shock your body into a mode where your body knows that today we're going to get these 50 in. Your heart is going to thank you. Your body going to thank you. You're going to build up stamina. You're going to build up strength that you never had before. You're going to be thinking clear. You're going to be able to do your job better. Everything is going to be better if you implement these things. You know? Yeah. Well, women can do them too. When I say guys, I'm talking about women too. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, for men, I'm speaking more so for men, but women should do the same thing because, again, you want to be able to have a healthy heart and live long. A lot of people don't be thinking about these things, man. Everybody think they're going to live forever, man. Listen, you got to get busy taking care of your health, guys. Like, for real, man. So it is what it is. Hope that encouraged somebody to get outside. But I'm going to go take care of this business, and we'll be back later with more content. So, again, walk around the park, guys. Have a regimen of walking around the park. I don't know how big your park is, but we want you to do your walks. If you can't jog, guys, then walk. Do not feel that you have to jog in order to impress me. No. Do what works for you. I don't want nobody getting injured. If you are a person who have bad knees, bad ankles, walk. Just walk. Don't try to jog. Don't try to do all that extra stuff. Walk around so you could get mobile and you can start doing your thing. Because walking is the best thing that you could do for your body, is just walking. It's total body workout, just walking. A lot of people don't walk. We're driving now. People drive everywhere. Nobody works out. So do your walks, do your push-ups. If you can't do a regular push-up, do an incline push-up. If you can't stretch your body out to do the push-up regular, then basically be on your knee and do the push-ups that way. Do something. Don't just make an excuse by saying I can't do nothing. Do a push-up on a wall. Lean on the wall and push yourself up and do that. Do something. Give me 50 wall push-ups, 50 incline push-ups. Go to a park and use the bench. The bench where you sit down, put your hands on where you would sit down and do an incline push-up. If you can't do a regular push-up where you're low. You get what I'm saying? But we need those 50. Are you up for the challenge? Do those 50 every day. I guarantee you're going to see a difference. Your shirt's going to look better on you. You're going to feel better. There's going to be a lot of circulation. You're going to see veins on your arm. You're going to see those veins again. Them veins that used to be there when you was in your 20s, those veins are going to pop back up. The circulation is happening, guys. When you age, a lot of times you get poor circulation and the blood is not moving, guys. It's not. That's why you feel in pain. That's why you feeling this tingling. You're wondering what the hell is going on. We need to clear those veins. We need to clean everything out. Your system need to clean. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. Working out cleans your system. You could eat certain foods to cleanse the body naturally, but working out, that is what regenerate the body. That's why people that are gym rats, they're the most disciplined people on the earth. You find a gym rat, you'll find somebody that's successful. People that are in the gym all day are normally successful in real life. Those guys that you see in the hood and they at the park all the time doing calisthenics, even though they live in the hood, I guarantee you that guy is successful. I guarantee you that guy is intelligent. That guy is smart. Because why? He's taking care of his health. He's taking care of his health. He's intelligent. He's smart. He's the smartest guy in the community. He's the guy you go to for advice because he's thinking clear. So rate, comment, and subscribe, guys. I got work to do. It is what it is. And get into juicing. Get into juicing. If you don't have a juicer, drink V8. You know what I'm saying? Vegetable juice. They got a lot of juices that you could drink. But if you get like a juicer, get that, a Vitamix, blend up vegetables and drink all that mess down, guys. Drink all that mess down. Get into that type of stuff, man. Get some wheatgrass. Get all that stuff, man. Grind that stuff up. Start juicing. You know, cut back on certain things. It's like the only thing, guys, that I consume that people could probably complain about is just drinking soda. But I drink soda all the time. I like soda. And I'm sure there's things that you drink that you like, things that you eat that you like. We're not saying be perfect. We're not saying cut everything out. With the amount of working out that I do, with the amount of vegetable juice I drink, water, the soda that I drink is nothing compared to what I'm doing. So there's a balance. A false balance is an abomination. But when you balance things out, you're good to go. So it's not about being perfect. It's about balancing things out and making the most of it. So if there's things that you should not be eating, then you could cut back on that. But then there's certain things that, you do every now and then. It is what it is. But as long as you put in the work, then I don't see that as a problem. But you don't want to be overly perfect because then you're going to be miserable, So it is what it is. So rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you later on, guys, on another video. I'm out. Peace.